He never blinked. Not once. Not even when I did. Not even when I screamed. Stay till the twist. Let me tell you about the reflection that never lies. Raymond Clark moved into the old house on Wren Street with more reluctance than resolve. It wasn't the creaking stairs or the fact that the walls held the scent of old pipe smoke. It was the mirror above the fireplace in the den. Heavy, old-world ornate, embedded in a blackened oak frame with spiraling filigree like twisting branches or veins. It was the only thing left by the last tenant. The only thing he was told not to remove. Don't cover it. Don't move it. Don't break it, the landlord, a gaunt man with waxy skin, had said. It's part of the property, stays where it is. Raymond had scoffed, thought it was superstition, thought maybe it was bolted too tightly into the masonry. Whatever. He wasn't a man easily shaken, not after what happened in the basement of St. Luke's. He didn't notice the reflection at first. It was too normal, too subtle. Just himself, leaning against the armrest, drinking his usual scotch, watching the rain trickle down the windows like God was crying. But it started changing. Not all at once, but over time. A second of lag. Then a smile that lingered too long. Eyes that didn't blink when he did. At first, he blamed the alcohol. Then lack of sleep. Then maybe he was going insane. But the reflection kept watching. And eventually, it moved when he didn't. The first time Raymond truly understood something was wrong, it was 2:13 a.m. He'd fallen asleep on the couch again, one hand resting on the bottle, the other slumped over the edge. The fire had burned low, casting twitching shadows. He woke up suddenly like surfacing from deep water. The room was quiet, but he felt watched. He looked toward the mirror. His reflection was standing. He wasn't. It stood behind the couch, towering, head slightly tilted, eyes gleaming as if lit from within. Then it smiled, slow, deliberate, not his smile. Raymond leapt to his feet, spinning around to see nothing, no one. The room was empty, but when he looked back at the mirror, it was sitting again, in his position. Raymond didn't sleep the rest of the night. He called his friend Patrick, a psychiatrist. "Tell me something," Raymond asked over coffee the next morning, hands trembling just enough to spill. "If you were seeing a version of yourself doing things you're not doing, that's psychosis, right?" Patrick, always analytical, raised an eyebrow. "Sounds like derealization, maybe depersonalization. Are you stressed? Drinking more than usual?" Raymond didn't answer. Patrick didn't push. But Patrick did agree to visit that night. The fire cracked and popped. Patrick watched the mirror for nearly 30 minutes before chuckling. "Nothing. You're just tired, man." Raymond didn't take his eyes off the glass. "Keep watching." "I am." Then the reflection blinked, but Raymond didn't. Patrick frowned. "Wait. Did you see?" The reflection stood. This time, so did Raymond, but in opposite directions, like a perfect negative. Raymond took a step left. The reflection stepped right. Patrick whispered, "That's..." The reflection pressed its hand to the other side of the mirror, not mimicking, inviting. Raymond moved forward. Patrick grabbed his arm. "Don't." Then the reflection grinned and mouthed something. Patrick leaned in, squinting. "What did it say?" Raymond asked. Patrick looked pale. "It said, 'Let me in.'" They didn't speak for the rest of the night. Patrick left just before sunrise. He never returned. Raymond began documenting the incidents, scribbled in notebooks, sticky notes pasted across walls. He marked the times, behaviors, anything irregular. The reflection grew bolder. Sometimes it would walk out of frame. Sometimes it would just stand and stare from the corner. And sometimes it mimicked others, old friends, dead friends. like Henry. Henry, his brother, had died 15 years ago in Afghanistan. Shrapnel to the chest. Raymond had seen the body, had to identify it. But there he was one evening, reflected in the mirror as if no time had passed, clean-shaven, wearing the same uniform. He wept. "Why now?" he whispered. Henry in the mirror didn't answer. Instead, the glass cracked. Just once. A hairline fracture across Henry's heart. Neighbors began avoiding him. They said he talked to himself too much. That lights were always on in the dead of night. That he screamed sometimes. That things moved inside the house. Shadows pacing behind curtains. He tried to cover the mirror with a cloth. It slipped off before he left the room. He tried to smash it with a poker. It bent in half and cut his leg. He tried turning the couch around, but the mirror always showed him, always waiting, always awake. It was on the 47th day that he noticed the bruises, finger marks around his throat, faint, purpled, like hands had gripped him in sleep. He checked the footage from his phone. He'd begun recording himself at night out of desperation, and he saw it. At 3:19 a.m., the reflection crawled out of the mirror. It didn't break. It rippled like water. The double, naked, emaciated, pale, pulled itself onto the floor, bent in unnatural ways. It stood, hunched, and leaned over the couch. Then it climbed onto him, pressed its face to his, whispered something. The audio was silent, but he knew what it said. "Let me in." He started sleeping during the day, avoiding mirrors entirely. He boarded up the den, nailed it shut. Every hammer blow echoed like a heartbeat. Still, he heard the tapping from inside. Then came the calls. Unknown numbers. Always silence on the line. Then breathing. Then his own voice, distorted. "Let me in." He changed his number. They found him anyway. He disconnected the power. The mirror still glowed. Desperate, Raymond found a man named Jacek, a Polish folklorist who specialized in reality fractures, something he discovered while hunting forums filled with those who'd seen too much. Jacek arrived with salt, candles, and a shard of obsidian. "Your reflection is not you," Jacek said, preparing the circle. "It is what you buried, what you denied, the man you could have been, the one who made different choices." Raymond felt cold. "I don't understand." "You will, before it ends." They sat cross-legged, chanted. Shadows danced like insects, and the mirror bled. A slow, black ooze dripped from the corners. The frame cracked and curled. A groan like 1,000 mouths screaming in silence. Then the glass exploded. Raymond shielded his eyes. When he looked again, Jacek was gone. Only his reflection remained. It smiled. That night, Raymond burned the house down. The firemen found him standing outside, covered in soot and blood, eyes wide, laughing. He said the mirror was still inside. They found no mirror, no frame, no sign it had ever existed. Raymond was institutionalized. I met him 10 years later. I was writing a book on abnormal psychology. The asylum had allowed me 3 interviews. I chose him because of the drawings. They filled his cell, all of them identical. A man in a mirror, smiling, always smiling. Raymond didn't speak for the first hour. Then he looked up at me, eyes hollow. "You're the reflection," he said. "No," I said softly. "I'm just here to talk. You're wearing my face." I left, shaken. That night I looked in the mirror above my bathroom sink. I blinked. The reflection didn't, and it smiled. I didn't sleep for days. Every mirror, every window, every reflective surface became a threat. I taped newspaper over them, cracked my phone screen, washed with my eyes closed. Still, he watched. The reflection began to change. At first, small things. A cut I didn't have, an extra mole, pupils just too wide. Then it started gesturing, pointing at something behind me. One night I turned. There was nothing there. When I looked back, the reflection was closer. Face pressed against the glass. Its mouth moved. No sound. But I knew what it said. Let me in. I found the mirror. Not the one from Raymond's house. Another. An antique shop in Vermont, hidden behind tarps and rusting mannequins. Same frame, same pattern. I asked the owner where it came from. He looked up, confused. I don't sell mirrors, I showed him. He paled. That's not mine. But it was in his store. I took it home. Why? I don't know. Curiosity, madness, a need to understand. I sat before it for hours. Eventually it moved. It was me, but not me. Taller, leaner, skin stretched tight like parchment, and smiling. I stood. It stayed sitting. I laughed. It wept. That's when I knew. It wasn't a reflection. It was a prison. Not for the worst version of me, but the truest. The one who didn't lie. Who remembered what I did. Who remembered what I buried. He mouthed something new this time. You let me die. And I did. My brother, in the lake, drowning, screaming for help. And I froze, watched, walked away. I never told anyone, but he knew. The mirror knew. And now I see him everywhere. In storefronts, in puddles, in other people's eyes. Last night I smashed it, with a hammer, with my fists, blood everywhere. But the glass didn't break. It laughed, deep, echoing, like wind howling through a cave. And then he stepped out. Same as Raymond described, same slouch, same too-wide grin. He whispered, "Now I'm free." Then he turned and walked away. I tried to follow. I couldn't move, trapped. I looked down. My hands were glass. I screamed. No one heard. I'm still screaming. The room is white. They give me pills. Say I harmed myself. That I broke into a museum. That I assaulted a clerk. But I know the truth. The mirror never lies. And now I watch. I see him, me, walking in the world, wearing my skin, smiling like nothing ever happened. But he will return, because reflections always need a watcher, and I'll be waiting, with a smile.